So I'm going to show you a new growth operating model for 2025. And no, you'll be happy to know it's got nothing to do with setting up a friggin' school community. Because you guys will know, if you've watched the other videos and you've followed their advice and you've done the outreach and you've pitched them, hey, I think it would be a big opportunity for you to start a low ticket community and I'll manage it and take 50%. You guys will know that that offer is BS and it doesn't work. So what I want to do in this video is not make fun of you, but show you a new growth operating model that I would follow this year. And I'm going to break it down into 4 different phases. So phase number 1, and it's represented by this guy here. This is a little niche. You know, I only get about 100 views on these videos. So I don't think one of you out of the 100 will even know who this guy is. But phase 1, let me just grab it here. Phase 1 is called the scouting phase. Now, if you're like me and you like football or soccer, as some of you might call it, this guy here is Steve Walsh, okay? One of the greatest scouts that has ever lived. He scouted Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez for Leicester City, and they went on to win the Premier League in 2016. Madness, right? One of the greatest scouts. So in phase 1, you want to be like this guy. And what you want to do is go and scout for the next big creator or online coach in their individual niche, right? Because let's be honest, if you want to become a growth operator and you want to start pitching a deal where you maybe take, 20, 30% of the profits, maybe even you want to be a little bit greedy and take 50%, and I'm actually going to show you how you can offer or how you can propose to take 50% of the profits in this video. But if you want to do that and you want to get the high commissions, then realistically, you can't go after the big creators. If you go after someone with, 5 million subscribers or 5 million followers, or even, 1 million, even 500K, if they're like a big name already in their niche, then you best bet they're not giving away 50% of their profits to some random person who is pitching them in email and DMs, right? So we've got to be a little bit more strategic. It's a little bit like if you're investing in crypto, and this is not a crypto channel because every time I invest in crypto, it literally goes down the next day. So I'm just kind of giving up on it. But you want to look at it a bit like crypto. So I remember I first friggin' heard of Bitcoin back in 2017, I think it was. And it had just hit 6K, which is around here. So yeah, this was the 22nd of October, 2017, right? Now, it's a bit like with cryptocurrency where you want to spot the coin just before it blows up, right? Because that's where you get your value. You don't get, well, you can still get value in Bitcoin because it's probably going to last a long term. But if all these like meme coins that people are trying to invest in and make a load of money in, what they tend to do is they'll invest the money right at the top. And what happens then? It just goes down. There's no value in there and it's not worth your money. Whereas if you catch the coin early, just before it blows up, and you invest then, and you get in then, and you have the deal then, and you get in at that price, then when it blows up, you can make a load of money. So that's what we want to do when we're looking at these creators. We want to try and scout them and try and find them before they've completely blown up. And there's a few reasons why we want to do this. So this is the kind of like the lifetime value of a creator's account. So a creator will start an Instagram or a YouTube and they'll post and post and post. And then usually what happens, not all the time, but usually in a short period of time, they'll have a few posts that blow up and they'll blow up here, right? And then what will happen, it'll usually like steady out. They can continue to grow. They might have another spurt, but over time, it generally goes down, right? Or not goes down, but the momentum slows, right? It's not growing as quickly as it once was. Now, what most people are doing, they're trying to pitch people who are already here. And if a creator is already here, they've probably already got offers in place. They've already got a marketing team in place. They've already got like the basic infrastructure. So you coming in and pitching them, hey, maybe we start a community, or hey, have you ever thought about doing a webinar, or any of that stuff? even if they like the idea, they probably already know someone and trust someone to do it for them. And they're not going to trust you, a stranger in the DM, right? So what we want to do is try and identify the creators here before they blow up. And you want to strike the deal there. And you want to outreach to them there. I remember last year, one of my friends, I've known him for a good time now, and he's kind of like in the online coaching space. And his sister, I can't remember, maybe like a year ago, probably closer to 2 years now, she started just posting on Instagram, basically her fitness journey. I think she just worked a regular job, wasn't necessarily entrepreneurial, I don't believe. But she started, she was unhappy with her weight. She started posting a fitness journey on Instagram, and her post just completely blew up. And pretty much in like the space of a few months, she went from like 0 to 100K plus on Instagram. I think now she's got about 250,000. And she still doesn't really have any marketing infrastructure set up. And that's why he came to me, he was speaking to me about her and was like, hey, like, can I get your advice on like what we should do? Because we're growing really fast and we don't really have any strategy. And all she had was just like a one-on-one call booking link in her Instagram bio, just to apply to work with her. And that's when you know these creators are new to the game. It's when you can look at their profile and you click their links, and there's usually like an apply to work with me one-on-one, right? If a coach has like hundreds of thousands of subscribers or followers, and all they have is like a one-on-one application link, that means they've blown up very quickly, they don't know what to do, and they've just stuck in a booking link there because that's how they can quickly monetize. They have no email list, they have no funnel set up, they don't have a proper coaching program, they have no offers. So you really want to try and look for these people. And that's exactly the scenario with my friend's sister. She literally didn't know what to do. She had no email list, even though she was getting, hundreds of thousands, millions of views on her reels, no CTAs to join the email list, absolutely nothing set up. So if you can strike the deal with them when they're like her, where her account just started to blow up, then it's going to be much easier because they desperately need your help. If you're going after the people with 1 million followers already, then guess what? They don't need your help because they've probably already got that sort of stuff set up. And guess what? It's going to be much easier to pitch someone to say, hey, can I get like 20% of this or 30% of this or 50% of this? When 50%, they might be making, 10K a month, right? Or whatever. And if you can say, hey, I'm going to like add an extra 100K to your business and I'll take 50% and you keep 50%, that's still an extra like 50K for them a month. And considering they're making like 5 to 10K a month right now, that's a sweet deal for them. They're like, yeah, 100%, of course, right? If you can help me make 100K a month, you can have 50 of it. I'll take 50 because that's 10x what I'm earning right now. And if you're going to come in and do all the work, fantastic. If you're pitching that to this person up here, then they're probably already making 100K a month, 200K a month, 500K a month, maybe, depending on who they are. If you come in and be like, oh, I'll take 10%, 20%, they're like, hell no. I'm making 200K a month already. Why the fuck would I give you money? So, and what they don't realize, the creators down here, is how much money you can make up here. Because if a creator has just started creating content and the content has just started going viral, then they're not making that much money. So they don't understand how much money you can actually make with like a big account if you have the right marketing systems in place. So if you strike a deal with them down here to say take 50% or 30% or 40%, then okay, if they're making like, if you can add in the first month, if you add like 5K or 10K, that's great. Okay, they only pay you like, 5K a month. But when you grow and you make more money and you start making 100K, 200K, 300K, then obviously you get half of that and it becomes a lot more lucrative. But you're not really gonna, unless you're like a huge name in your own industry and you've got an incredible track record, it's gonna be very hard to strike a deal with these people here. If you're more beginner, you've only got a couple of case studies, maybe you don't have any case studies, then you're gonna have to start down here, okay? So, and plus, just another side of it as well, you're playing the outreach game, which means you've got to be a bit tactical. Is someone with 1 million followers on Instagram going to reply to your DM? Maybe. I'm sure there's examples of it, but the likeliness is probably not. So you want to basically play like, okay, realistically, who's going to be the best? Who's going to be most likely to reply? It's going to be the people with the smaller followers. So if you can find someone who is about to explode or has just started gaining traction with their account, they're going to be much more likely to respond to you. So like, for example, when I first started, I started doing like proper, like I'd been like a freelancer agency, one-man business. I had a couple of freelancers who worked for me for a few years. And that was fine. I was earning money. But I started to do proper outreach to like big accounts and influencers in like 2021. And there was this one guy in my specific niche. There's this one guy who I really wanted to work with. He was probably like the number one name on my list. And he has about 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube. But at the time, it was like 1.2, 1.4 or whatever it was. And one of the biggest names in his niche. And I outreached him multiple times. Instagram, email, got absolutely nothing back, right? He was never going to reply to me. What happened was I ended up signing a smaller account, a smaller person in that niche, and I started getting him results really quickly. Turns out he's best friends with that guy who was my dream client, who had 1.8 mil or 1.4 mil subscribers at the time. And he refers him to me. And one day, I remember I was living in Barcelona at that time. And I remember I woke up and I checked my email on my phone and I saw it from his name in my inbox being like, hey, Sam, my friend Dave, I'll keep it anonymous. My friend Dave says you've been helping him with his funnel and his Facebook ads. Was interested if you could help me do the same. Are you free to jump on a quick call? Right? Dream client reaching out to me being like, oh yeah, can you help me? But there's no way, and I've been working with him, that big client, the dream client, for like 3 years now, right? We still work with him to this day. We're about to do a launch for him tomorrow as I film this video. So, but he would never respond to my outreach because he was too big. His inbox was flooded. He just had a million different things going on. He was never going to respond to my cold outreach message. So those really big guys you really want to work with, you're only really going to be able to work with them through referrals, or if you're like a big agency in your space and they reach out to you. But realistically, it's going to go through referrals. So you don't want to waste your time trying to go for the people at the top. You want to find someone just before they explode because you're going to strike a better deal with them and it's just going to be easier to sign them. All right, enough on that point. So, and by the way, obviously this video is already going on too long. If you want like an actual in-depth training on like how we'd actually find those people, like how do you actually identify them on Instagram? How do you actually know who's about to blow up? How do you actually know whose account is in momentum? Then I did another video probably a few months ago on that exact topic and actually get up Instagram and actually walk you through the process. I'll link that video in the description if you want to check that out. All right. So number one, phase one, you're going to go scouting like Steve Walsh and you're going to scout these people, right? Phase number two is acquisition. I don't even know. I've definitely spelled that wrong. But anyway, I think it's wrong. Yeah, it is. Anyway. Acquisition. So here's what most people do, and this is what you don't want to do. Well, there's two scenarios, okay? Most people will fucking outreach to these influencers or coaches or, whatever they are, whatever they identify with, and they will be like, oh, I can help you get clients, right? Oh, I'll help you. Well, number one, people have been like, I'll help you start a school community. I'll help you run a webinar, right? Fucking no one wants to do any of those things, right? They might want the end result, which is more money, but no one wants to start a school community. No one wakes up in the morning and is like, oh, fucking hell. Can't wait to start a school community. No one wakes up and thinks that, right? No one wakes up and goes, oh, I can't wait to do a webinar today, right? No one wakes up and thinks that. They might say, oh, can't wait to do 100K today from that webinar. Or they might say, oh, I can't wait to build up, 100K in monthly recurring revenue with the school community. But people are pitching all wrong. So number one, you don't want to pitch them on the vehicle, which is like, we can do a webinar together or a community together. But number two, the true way to position this, and this is how you're going to get the 50-50 split, is that you don't want to go in and be like, oh, I'm going to help you get clients, or oh, I am an agency, or oh, I am a growth partner. You don't want to do that, right? And this is coming from experience, because I own a business with an online brand, an online creator. We're about to hit 200K subs on YouTube, and we're about 60,000 followers on Instagram, maybe like 54. So again, not the biggest creator in the world, but again, I can't strike a 50-50 deal with someone who's already got 1 million subs. So I prospected her when she had 120,000 subscribers on YouTube and about 40,000 followers on Instagram. So it was kind of at that level. And she was very similar to the scenario that I just talked about, where she just had like a one-on-one. She had like I don't even know. She had basically the main link for coaching was a one-on-one application, right? Or booking a one-on-one call. So the exact scenario that I just talked about, I've done, and I made this exact pitch, right? And I didn't go to her and say, hey, I can help you sign clients, right? Or, hey, I can help you grow a coaching program. I didn't say that. This is what you want to do. I went to her and I said, hey, X, I am X company, and over the last few years, we've been working with influencers and online coaches in this niche. For me personally, I was able to say we've generated them over $10 million in online coaching sales in this specific industry, because all my previous clients had been basically kind of like all in one niche, and it was the niche she was in. And I said, what my next, like my plan for this year is, I'm going to start an education and coaching company. And I'm basically looking for someone to partner with to be the face of the brand. And I actually gave them, like on the call, I actually gave them 2 options. Or you think I pitched this in the Loom video. I said, there's 2 options. Number 1, you can just create the course content that we need, and we'll pay you a percentage every single month of the course sales. All you need to do is create the course one time, and then it'll be recurring revenue afterwards, and I will handle everything else, right? Or if you want to come in and partner with this, we can split it 50-50, and all that will be required from your end is to create the course content, do some like coaching on a monthly or weekly basis, and be the face of the brand. I'll manage the business, the operations, the finances, the marketing, the strategy. And basically the pitch was, you can kind of do what you're doing right now because they were already creating content, but we're going to have this big business on the back end that's going to generate, 50 to 100K a month, and I'm going to manage it for you, right? And instead of you just creating the course content and just having like 10% every single month, if you do some like active coaching in the community and we actually launch a program and we work together on an ongoing basis, 50-50. So that was kind of the pitch, right? So it wasn't, hey, I think that we can grow a coaching program with you, or hey, I can get you more clients, or hey, we can launch a course. I'm like, I'm doing this thing. I'm starting this business and I'm reaching out to people to see if they would be interested in partnering. So it's basically like, hey, I'm already doing it. Like it's already in motion. Do you want to be a part of it or not? Because if you don't, it's fine. I've already reached out to like 10 different people, but there's an opportunity if you do want to do it. And it works because a lot of these creators, they are creating content, they're in momentum with their accounts, but they don't have a clue about marketing or business. And if I can show them, hey, I've got experience in your niche, we've already generated millions of dollars, right? Because the creator who we're prospecting, they're not making millions, right? They may be making like 5, 10K a month from their audience because they don't really know what they're doing. I've helped people make millions of dollars. I'm going to start my own company, and all I'm doing is looking for someone to be the face of the company. Do you want to partner up, right? It's a completely different dynamic, and you position yourself completely differently. And when you say, and the reason, and it's kind of like the same, like for that partnership, we have a company together and it's great. And I do the finances, and, I do take on more responsibility than I would for like a regular client. But like day to day, what am I doing for that business? I'm writing marketing emails, I'm doing funnels, I'm running ads. Like I'm doing pretty much everything that we would do for a regular client. But I take 50% of the business. And the reason why is because of the positioning in it. It's, hey, this is my idea. This is my company. I'm looking for a partner. I'm not going to them and being like, hey, I can help your business. and basically saying, hey, do you want to help mine? So that's why the positioning works really well. Now, I will caveat this and say you do need experience. Like, you do need to have results. You know, I'd been doing marketing for other companies at that point. 2019, it was like 4 years. So I'd been like, started off as a freelancer, built like a mini agency, then kind of like prospected, got bigger clients, and built my agency out, right? But I knew the next phase was, instead of just signing a client for like a small retainer and 10K a month, or 10% or 20%, my next phase was to actually get a percentage of a proper company. So I had experience in the niche. So that obviously helps, right? Because if you're just a random person and you have no proof that you can actually generate a lot of money, and you have no proof of work in their industry, then it's going to be harder to get someone to like start a business with you, right? Or at least to start an offer. And that's important. You don't have to start a business straight away. And I'll talk about that actually in phase 3. So if you are completely brand new, then you probably will have to, number one, either just go and get some regular clients that you work with to prove that you can get results for a specific type of customer. Or you might just have to go in and take a less percentage, right? And say, hey, I'm looking to partner with someone. And maybe you do the more regular route where you take 10, 20%. But as soon as you have got results for like a couple of people in one specific niche and industry, and you've helped them get results and made some good money, then you can come in with this positioning and it completely flips it on its head. And you can, and it allows you, when you strike a deal like that, it allows you to earn more from one client than what you were able to earn with 5 or 10 clients, because you got like 50%. And again, like I said, day to day, I don't actually have that much more work. When it's taxes time and I've got to do the finances and stuff, yeah, that takes a bit more of my time. But like, other than that, like day to day, I'm just doing the marketing like I would do for any other client. So that's what you want to pitch them when you make them the offer. Now, if they agree, then we move to the third phase, which is validation, right? You want to validate, is this actually going to be successful? Because what you don't want to do is be like, cool, we're going to partner up. We're going to create like a 12-month coaching program. We're going to charge 5K. We're going to build a VSL. We're going to do all we're going to build this massive infrastructure. And then 2 months in, you've signed like 2 clients in this like year-long coaching program or mastermind, and you're not making any money, and you just realize that the audience didn't grow as quickly as you thought it would. Or maybe just the audience couldn't be monetized as easy as you thought, or maybe it just wasn't the right fit. Maybe you don't like the person that you partnered with and you want to cancel. So you don't want to fucking marry them on the before going out on a first date, right? So what you want to do is validate that this partnership and the audience and who they are as a person has got potential for it to be a long-term thing. So what I like to do in this scenario, and again, this is all from experience. I did this with my business partner. We did this exact thing where the first month we didn't launch like a coaching program. You just want to launch like a low, like basically what we do, like a low ticket offer. And the best one that we've done is we'll launch just like a workshop. You've got to forgive me for my horrible writing. Okay. So you're going to be partnering with someone who helps someone get a certain result, right? It could be a fitness coach, could be a business coach, could be a crypto make money coach, it could be a life coach, relationship coach, whatever it is. So they're going to be helping people get some form of result. So don't go and be like, okay, let's start a coaching program and charge 1K, 2K, 5K. Just say, and this is a good pitch as well to the person who you're pitching, because again, for them, it can be a little bit scary and it's a big commitment to be like, oh, I'm going to go in business with this person. So on the sales call, you don't say, okay, we're going to build a coaching program, blah, 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 right? You're going to say, hey, look, I understand this is a big commitment from my end and from yours as well. And I want to make sure that we both feel good about it. So what we want to do is we're going to test, do like basically a validation test. So we're going to run a workshop and it's going to take you 60 minutes of work and that's it. Again, that's part of the pitch because it's low commitment, just to see if this thing has got legs. So you want to pitch them and say, hey, all you need to do is just prepare a 60-minute workshop. And we're going to launch this to your audience. So it's 60 minutes, and it can just be getting a certain result, right? So whatever your creator's expertise is in, it's just like a 60-minute workshop on how to achieve this certain thing, right? And what that does is like you can sell it for like $47, $67, $97, $27, depending on the niche and the product. And you're going to launch it to their audience, and you're going to do a test, right? So number one, it's easy for them. It's low commitment for them because like it's a 60, right? I mean, they'll have to prep before, but typically the person who you're partnering with, they've taught what they know a lot. So like if someone comes to me and says, Sam, can you do a 60-minute workshop on how to like set up a Facebook ad account? Then yeah, I can do that, right? Sam, can you do a 60-minute workshop on how to create like a VSL for an agency? Yeah, I can do that. If you create a workshop, like it's very easy for me to just come and speak on my topic of expertise for 60 minutes. So the person who you're talking to, like when I pitched it to my business partner, she was like, of course, I've talked about that a million times before in my YouTube videos. Like I can do a 60-minute training on that topic. No problem whatsoever, right? So it's going to be really easy and low commitment for these people. All they've got to prepare is a 60-minute training, right? So it's very, very easy for them. And also for you, it's going to be very easy to market, right? Very simple sales page. It's a low ticket product that promises to teach them within 60 minutes how to get a certain result. And all you're going to do is launch it to their audience. If they've got an email list, you can write some emails, send it out. If they don't have an email list, then you will just help them create social media promotional content, whether that be a YouTube video or Instagram content, whatever it is. And you just want to market to their audience and promote the workshop, right? And then once you promote the workshop, you can get a sense of, number one, how are they? Are they good at creating marketing material? Are they easy to get on with? Do they follow instruction? Do you align on just how stuff should be done? So that's number one. If that's a tick and that's good, then yeah, great. But number two, does it make good money? And by good money, I don't mean you have to make like 100,000, but you're also testing like the audience and the relationship with the audience. So a few years ago now, we worked with and this was a client relationship. I think it wasn't like a growth operator thing, but I think we had 15% of everything that we worked on, organic and paid. And this girl at the time, I can't remember exactly now, she's blown up a little bit more. She has like 600K subs on YouTube, but I think at the time we worked together, I think it was more like 400. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like 200, 300, 400, like a decent sized audience. And we got 15%. And for me at that time, it was a good deal. So I'm like, sweet. And we launched like a workshop or a low ticket product, and it made like fucking $5,000. and look, could my marketing be better? Yeah, probably. Could the workshop be better? Yeah, of course I could have done a better job potentially. But I think at the end of the day, like her relationship with her audience was built on more superficial content, and they didn't actually have like a deep connection with her. She was more of like a pretty influencer versus like, hey, I'm like an educator and a coach and a personal brand. It was kind of just, hey, I'm going to post like pretty pictures and people follow her for that versus, oh, this person can really help me achieve X result. So her audience was built, I would say, in the wrong way, and it just completely flopped. And her audience didn't follow her for educational content on that topic. I think they followed her for her lifestyle and her like makeup tutorials and stuff like that, right? So number one, you've got to validate if they're easy to work with. But then number two, you've got to validate, is the audience monetizable? Like, again, you don't have to make 100K, but like if they have 50,000 followers or 50,000 subscribers and they've never really sold to them before, other than maybe like getting them to apply to a one-on-one link, and you launch a workshop and you make like $2,000, then you got to think about, okay, maybe this doesn't have legs, right? But if you launch it and they've got a really small audience, but you make 5, 10K, and you're getting 50% of this. So, for some of you, if you're just starting out, that's fucking great money, right? Just for launching a low ticket workshop to an audience, you get paid $5,000 for like a week's worth of work. A few years ago, I'd have bit your hand off for that. So you want to validate, are they good people to work with? And then you want to validate their audience and stuff as well. Again, it doesn't need to be like a grand slam home run, but you just got a good feeling of like, okay, if we do this again, if we optimize, if we improve this, then we can definitely make money. And again, you are banking on them obviously growing their audience, right? You're not going to try and monetize like a 20,000 follower audience for the next couple of years. Hopefully their content is good, and that's part of the scouting as well. When you're being full on Steve Walsh, right? You're scouting, okay, is their content good, or did they just kind of like, are they friends with an influencer and that's why they have like 30,000 followers, or is it actually because their content is good? So that's all in the scouting as well. But you are banking on them growing, okay? You're actually making a bet on this person. But you do need to see, okay, what is the audience like? And then what you want to do is move on to phase 4, which is our mate CR7 here, sign and scale, right? So once you've validated them with a workshop, right, and you've said, okay, they're good to work with, the audience is good, I'm feeling good about this partnership, then you can sign an official contract. In my case, in that first deal that we did, we actually started a company together, and we're 50-50 shareholders. With another collab offer where I went 50-50 with someone, we didn't start a company together. We just had a little, I don't even know if we had a contract actually, but we had an agreement where it was 50-50, and we took it into the Stripe account, and then we just paid out 50-50 each to the people, right? To the people, to me and to them. So that's when you can then be like, okay, we're happy with this agreement. Then we can move on. And that's when you can launch like a high ticket coaching offer or a coaching program, or God forbid, a community or something like that. Something that's actually long-term. But you don't want to start off in the beginning. That's only after you've kind of like validated them, right? Now, a couple of things to note is I probably got lucky. The first person I did this with, I still work with them to this day. We have the company together, and it's going pretty well. Obviously I want more, but grand scheme of things, everything was pretty good from a monetary point of view, but also just from like a working dynamics point of view. We're actually very different people, which is why it works so well. She's the face, I'm the back end, and it works perfectly. But not everyone is going to be like that. One of those collaborations that I did, 50-50, it worked well. I actually made, for me, like good money, like very good money. But just in terms of the ways of working, it just didn't work out. They were super busy. They were quite a bigger creator. And it just couldn't be a long-term thing just because it just weren't going to work out. Like the stuff that I needed from them in terms of time and commitment just wasn't going to work out because they just couldn't give it. And it was, I was dealing with their team a little bit more versus just the creator. And it got a little, not messy, there's no bad blood, still chat to them a little bit, but it just couldn't work out, right? Just ways of working, commitment, they just didn't have the capacity for it to work. So even though that went really well, we made a lot of money, just like working, it didn't work. I also signed another one recently after I did this the first time, and I worked with them for a few months, and we just couldn't get it to work. Right, made a little bit of money, but it just wasn't worth the effort we were both putting in. So my point is that not every single one of these is going to be a home run, which is why the validation is so important, because you can just test it for a month or two, and then it's very easy. If you launch a workshop or 2 workshops, and afterwards you're like, I don't think this is right, then you can just end it there, right? But if you started like a year-long coaching program, you've got students, you've got clients, you've got commitments, you've got payment plans coming in, and you'd be like, oh no, I'm just walking away. Like, all right, fine, you probably can do that, but it's going to be a little bit harder. And it's a little bit more stress. So you might have to go out and, again, doing your Steve Walsh had a pretty good success rate, but there's definitely going to be some players that he scouted for Leicester that didn't work well. If anyone follows football, which they probably don't, but if you look at Chelsea right now, their strategy is to just sign a shitload of young players, right? And they actually put them on long-term contracts, which I wouldn't agree for in this scenario, but they're going to sign like 5 players. And if only one of them works out, then they're happy, because they're signing these young players and they're actually paying relatively low fees for them. and they're paying them relatively low salary because these people are new. I mean, I'm going full football nerd on you here, but I swear it relates to this video. So the risk for them is pretty low. So they're happy if they sign 5 of these players and only 1 works out. That's actually really good. They'll probably take 1 in 10, right? Because that one person is going to be like a Cole Palmer superstar who, can take them to Champions League and the Premier League, hopefully for them one day. So that's where you want to kind of take that approach. Hopefully it doesn't take you like 5 creators to get 1 good one. Like I said, out of the first 3 people I worked with in that capacity, 1 was a long-term thing. Another 1 was a short-term thing, but made good money. And then the 3rd one didn't work out on both ends, really. So you're not always going to get a Grand Slam home run, but it might take you a couple of times, which again is why it's important to do the validation. All right. So that's the way I would do it. It all comes down to finding the right type of collab partner who is about to blow up, but doesn't have the infrastructure. It's all about how you position the offer. You're not going to help them. They're coming to help you. Validate it. And then if it works out from a monetary point of view and from a working point of view, then you can sign each other and go into like a longer term relationship. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.